I really like looking for unique materials still. That's like mostly like what I look for. Or like a standard material done very well. I'll like any pair of bricks if it's done super, super well.
Yeah.
But recently I have seen some weird stuff and it's really makes me exciting. I'm looking through my likes right now because I haven't liked a lot of stuff recently. I'm just like looking at things that I've liked. Oh, there's this one stylized moon that I liked recently from November that was really good that I
Okay.
liked a lot.
Is there
It's
when it comes to like obviously it's like you're looking for types of inspiration that, but do you have like a favorite artist or like who's like do you have like a certain like style that you go to, or is it kind of because I know you like to explore a lot of things.
I look at Daniel Tiger's portfolio like once a
Right.
week.
Right.
Just
Perfect.
like it's the bar, man. He's really good.
Yeah.
Other artists I really like. I love Javier's work is awesome. Josh Lynch, obviously. I really love Rogelio Olgin's work. I hope I didn't butcher your last name because he
I've
might
heard
watch
this name,
this.
but I still have not checked this. Can you say his name one more
Oh
time,
yeah,
or send me a
I'll
link?
send you his portfolio.
Yeah,
I always am scared I'm gonna butcher his last name.
I've heard this name I think three times on the podcast, and I need to check this guy out because
Oh,
supposedly this guy he must be a beast. Right,
oh,
let's
he
have a
is.
look.
He's the lead at 343. We've talked a few times too. He's very nice. He's very supportive. He used to work at Naughty Dog,
Right?
so when I got hired here, he told me a few people I should say hi to, and they helped me out quite a bit. So thanks, Ro. You're the best.
Wow. Yeah, just look at his materials. Like, damn, that's beautiful. Right? Okay. Oh, he does ornate stuff as well. Ornate stuff's my favorite.
Yeah, he's got awesome like stuff. Super talented. And who else do I look at? I look oh man, I'm gonna butcher it too. I literally asked him how to pronounce it at GDC. Jonathan Benias
Okay.
is super awesome. Vincent DeRosa. I mean, everyone's gonna like yell at me for
It's
butchering
okay, man.
names.
It's cool.
Vincent DeRosa, I think that's how you say it. It's
Right?
French. I can't say it. And Pierre Fleu. They gave a talk at GDC this year as well. That you can find on the Substance YouTube. They have awesome work, both of them. They're like a duo. Um, those are like the ones that like jump to my mind.
Yeah,
Chris
yeah.
Hodgson, my coworker, makes
Okay.
awesome substances. Super good. I really liked. I also like Ben Wilson a lot. And Darn Arcetta put out a substance source drop a few weeks ago. It was ocean themed, super good. I love the ocean.
Yeah, yeah.
I was gonna do marine bio if games never worked out for me. So very biased on the subject matter. Really like that substance drop a lot.
Nah, that's
Um,
awesome. As always, by the way, before we continue, I'll put all the links in the description below. So if everyone who's tuning in right now, just make sure. So if you're tuning on the other 10 platforms, make sure to check on YouTube, and I'll put it in the description. So just so nobody misses out. And yeah,
uh, oh, and I also love Enrico Tumankin. I can't say his name.
I know.
I,
Yeah, I know his work. He does like insane ornate stuff as well. Like he
yeah.
does
Oh,
like oh damn.
And Alex Bedos.
Yeah,
I like his stuff too.
Alex Fellows. Yeah, of course.
He's a good guy.
So
Uh,
when it comes to, I guess, like obviously carrying on with like materials and stuff, is like so one of the questions I like to ask is obviously we're talking about education and stuff, but since we're kind of going on that kind of line of materials and portfolio, is there anything that obviously like a lot of people say kind of well, if you can do cliche well, then that's great, then it's fine. But is there anything you think people shouldn't be including in their portfolio?
yes, anything not related to your discipline.
Perfect. That's very true.
I do have an environment, but for a material artist, you would want like an environment to like showcase materials. But this environment is crap. No one should ever click it in my portfolio. I'm gonna remove it the second this game ships and I get to post my work in my portfolio.
Nice.
Because, but I would like to. Just the personal environment is such a huge time sink for me now. I can't like take away from time I have playing games and relaxing and making sure I don't burn out again because
Yeah.
I don't like that I haven't like been active the second half of this year
Mhm.
after I got my job. But I guess it's fine, like because I've got like a job. I have no commitment to doing any personal work. One of my coworkers said I haven't done personal work in 8 years. I have a job, like,
Wow.
and by now I've been here for a long time. It's like no reason to do that. I've got like a wife, etc. So
Yeah. Like it's
and that makes sense.
of course it's like it's well it depends on what obviously like what you out of it what you want out of it and stuff. Like if you enjoy doing personal work like you said, then obviously it's great to find the time and stuff. But at the end of the day, it's like prioritize what you need to. I guess what you enjoy the most and what you think is right for you. Like because when it comes to burnout, it's it's something we can all agree we don't enjoy, and it's just down to getting a healthy balance. Because at the end of the day, it goes such a long way. If you know what I mean, like the more obviously healthy you are and the less work you do, the better quality your work is at work, and it's getting that right balance in between.
Oh, I did think of something. Christine, my concept art friend, she
Mm-hmm.
and I one day on Discord, it was a few weeks ago, we were reviewing a few portfolios just for fun, like of our like old classmates or like people who are currently in school.
Okay.
And she brought up a good point to me, is that I don't think personally that character artists in specific, and I can't speak much to this, should focus on making characters from their own concepts. And I remembered hearing the same thing, I don't remember from where, about environments. And I totally agree, because making your own concepts is very fun for sure. But think of it this way: you don't make a concept and you use one that's given to you. You're going to be doing that in the studio. You will not 99% of the time, if we're talking AAA exclusively,
Yeah.
of course, because in indie, of course, you'll probably like way more often like be using your own like concepts, thinking up ideas, because it's a smaller team, you know.
Yeah.
But in AAA, like you'll be always concepting like off of what your art directors want, what your leads want, what the concept artists give you. Even the concept artists use 3D nowadays, like to basically paint over absolutely everything.
Yeah.
And of course, if you don't have to spend time thinking of your own concept, that's more production time for you. There's no downside. It doesn't matter if you're not making your concept. It doesn't matter if it doesn't feel like your work, because I got news for you. When you go through the studio and you work on like an environment, I'm working on one environment right now. It's probably been touched by 35 people in the studio.
Yeah, of course.
It's hardly mine, quote unquote. Like I own the section, but it is not mine.
Yeah. Like it's learning like that. Like that's one of the main things is like if you can learn that early on and like learning that it's a team thing, it's like it goes such a long way, and you'll instantly as well get more relaxed because obviously it's great to do good quality, and obviously that's what you want to aim for, but realize that things get changed all the time, and it might even get deleted as well. You never know, it might get told, right, we're actually changing things up. Like you never
Yep.
know.
Happens, definitely happens. um, Actually, and I don't want to like come off to students saying like you should never do your own concepts. You should,
Yeah,
you can totally.
of
But
course.
if you're like you know, you're in school and you're like graduating and you're looking for a job and you want to do it quicker, shave off some extra time and just, you know, find a cool concept. ArtStation has a few dozen thousand, I think.
Yeah,
Pick one and just go for it. And also, it will show you know how to like go off of like other people's ideas and not just your own, because if you're going off of just your own, you're inherently always going to be biased on how it looks.
yeah. Oh, I
And
completely.
also don't have like characters in an environment art portfolio. I'm still seeing that very often.
It's so confusing when it happens. Like, yeah, I'll let you continue that with that one because it always surprises me.
And I, you know, I definitely like don't think I'm the authority on anything, literally. So 3D artists, I always have to look at their portfolio and I think I'm of a generalist. But I see people who label themselves as a 3D artist, but they've got a discipline. Like I see like mostly with characters, I think, because
Hmm.
everyone wants to do characters, and unfortunately that's like the lowest demand, you know.
Yeah,
It's like, wow, you're labeled as a 3D artist, but your character art portfolio. Do yourself a favor, like change your tagline. You never know, like because recruiters like will look through, they'll see 3D artists, and they'll be like, uh-oh, some of them might go like, oh, doesn't know what they want to do, even though it clearly says they're like, if you just look at their thumbnails, they're character artists, you know.
yeah,
But never ever give any room for anyone to question your discipline. Like they should look at your portfolio. They should not even have to blink to see that you're a material artist, texture artist, a real-time VFX artist.
yeah,
Whatchamacallit. What if they see a bunch of BSPs? They're gonna know you're a level designer because you said so in your tagline.
yeah,
I always say it's weird because like we're all 3D artists. If you are a generalist and you have a mixed portfolio, then like yeah for sure, because we have 3D generalists at Naughty Dog, so and their portfolios are very like varied, you know. So I'm not like saying like that's just like a go-to thing, but for me, if I was like looking for people for a specific role and you apply for a specific role, if a guy with like, you know, 3D artist with a portfolio tailored, with environments. You never know. I just would say it's just to minimize the chances of getting skimmed over, and it's such a minor thing too that I could be blowing way out of proportion. But
Oh
you
no,
never know.
I
So
I agree because at the end of the day, it's like obviously it's great if you have multiple passions and stuff, but when it comes to if you're trying to get that first job, you want to be as kind of direct and straight to the point, if you know what I mean. And like there's actually this is actually a great point to bring up because it kind of tailors into the next question, which is like branding and like talking about you as a person and making sure that you get across the right image. And so like obviously when it comes to your art and stuff, you have to kind of acknowledge that, right? Obviously certain studios or certain companies, whether it's film, VFX, or whether it's games, like they have certain requirements, and obviously you want to make sure that you reach those requirements and show off the work that you can do, and most importantly show that you can do the work. And speaking of what Charlie just said, there's like on your art station, are you environment artist, a concept artist, whatever it is, like don't limit yourself. Like obviously if you're a character artist, and Charlie mentioned a great point, like it is a really difficult area to get into, but don't stop, keep going after it. If it is character that you go for, just obviously you're going to have to put in a lot of time, and well, it's the same for anything, but just realize that it's a very competitive area. It's the same as concept art as well, and that's why concept art's kind of made the shift in the last it's probably more than 5 years now that everyone kind of got into 3D. So it's like it's kind of 3D's like it's like you do your kit bashing, paint overs and so forth. You know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure. Oh, one thing I have learned about, speaking of the tagline with myself, you had Kieran on here, right?
Yeah.
Goodson?
Yeah, Kieran, he's a legend.
Yeah, he's a buddy of mine. I was just talking to him yesterday.
Oh, right, okay. What's it?
Because I was telling him that I was coming on the show, and I was like, hey, I'm following in your footsteps, boy. And he said, wow, who's the legend here? But he told me, I thought you were making materials there. And I said, no, material artist and a texture artist, I've learned, are very different. So a texture artist, I feel like, is more of an environment artist, because the structure in Naughty Dog is we have partners. I actually don't right now. I've been a floater for a few months. I had a partner, and then my lead was like, hey, can you help with like a bunch of other levels? I'm going to put you on more things.
Yep.
So I'm like flying sort of solo now, helping like a ton of people. So it's like you have like a modeler basically who is the environment artist, and then you are also an environment artist, but you're making like shaders and stuff like that, and UVs and light maps, et cetera, et cetera. But a material artist is exactly what it says on the tin. Like you're making materials and you're like more focused on shaders and stuff. But I feel like a texture artist is just another environment artist, but you do like half the job, but there's more of it.
Yep.
So yeah, it's a pretty cool thing, because Naughty Dog is like super specialized, and I don't think every studio is like that. Because I think at Insomniac, like they have environment artists like making props and textures and world building. So,
well,
but I know some studios have like just world builders.
Yeah, well, that's the thing is like when it comes to like the roles and stuff, and it's, how can I say, like, well, the best way for me to put it is like, make sure you do your research first, like research into things, like try and figure out if it's like a certain thing that you want to do. If you know what it is, then great, but realize that every studio has their own ways of approaching things, and obviously like there's common trends that obviously continue throughout every industry, whether it's like there's certain ways of modeling things and stuff, but realize that some things are very particular into a certain studio, and but most importantly, don't let that stress you as well, because you pick that things up once you get the job. It's like you said yourself, like obviously like you're like if you're making mistakes, that you'll be learning as you go along, and that's just part and parcel of the journey.
Yeah, for sure. But yeah, like being a texture artist and like a material artist, like, I mean, texture artists just like make materials, so you're still a material artist. But it just like goes to show that like different studios look for different things too. Because like maybe one studio is just hiring people to make materials for them, and some of them want texture artists to texture entire environments for them, Yeah. So, and I think the common fear is people pigeonholing themselves into something that they don't like. And honestly, like, my advice is you can always change, but the question is like, what if someone like discovers it, but like they're in like they're 28, maybe they have a girlfriend or they have to move and they don't, or they like have to spend like time with like their significant other or their pet, or with real life obligations, with medical, with paying off student debt, and they don't have the time, to learn the skill that they actually want to learn, and then they're stuck in a dead end, quote unquote. Like they're doing it but they're not happy, and that's a legitimate fear. And I wish like that I could speak like a lot about that, but I haven't experienced that yet because I'm a baby. So but I do like understand like why people like are worried about that, because it's like, oh, what if I realize I don't like being an environment artist? I actually want to be like a technical artist. Well, I actually do have one piece of advice at work. If you ever have like a spare moment, you should ask someone in that department, or like try to see if there's anything you can do to contribute to that department.
Mm-hmm.
And, it'll be a slow trickle, but the more you work with them, who knows, if you talk to maybe your leads eventually, I'm not sure if it works this simply, but you can switch departments. It happens to people in studio all the time. I know some people at Naughty Dog that have swapped departments. They've been in like 2 or 3. So then they're like, your skill set can evolve on the job, so you don't have to worry about just doing it through personal work. Even dedicating like 20 minutes a day, like just researching, and then an application is enough. Like, so you're never. That's the cool thing about art. Like, right? If you're not a good artist, you can become a good artist.
Of course.
Like, that's why like that's like one thing I like realized like after school is like. And this was a point that I want to talk about when we were talking like more about education, so I'm going to pivot back to that real quick.
On you go, far away.
I think another inherent thing that's like wrong with art school is that students are the bar when you're in school, and you're competing with like your classmates. Like, I know like me and like my classmates, because I think we had like 120 people in my major when I graduated. We were all like friendly and nice, but I know like we all, because I did it too, we all like talk trash about each other's like art because we had to elevate our own. I know. So but when we get out of school, it's like, oh my god, we were focusing on the wrong people. We need to be like focusing to get our art as good as like, for me, Daniel Tiger. Like, and I'm not even close to as good as him still, but like I feel like I've made steps, so
I completely agree.
You need to like compare yourself to people doing what you do better. Like, it kind of sucks because like a lot of people are like, don't compare yourself to others, but except if they're not in this industry. And I'm like, well, as an artist, you kind of have to. And it sucks because art is subjective, unfortunately. It's no matter how good the quality might look, someone might not like the design or whatever. And that's unfortunately, like I said, it's subjective. So can't please them all.
Yeah, you never can you?
That's something you have to accept.
Because like, well, that's the thing. It's like, at the end of the day, it's about obviously like long term. You have to realize that at the end of the day, a job's a job, and you have to realize that in order to get that job, you have to live up to the standard of the job. And yes, it's great to obviously maybe like say if you're like obviously like some people say don't compare yourself to people like you said there, but it's like if you are comparing yourself to people in your class, the only thing I would say about that is make sure that you're 100% honest, and also once again being real with yourself in regards to right, what's the industry like. So if I am the best in my class right now and say 150 people, then that's good and stuff. However, there's still thousands and thousands of people still left in other colleges around my country who are once again going up against you, and then that's other people you're going to have to go up against. And it's like you said there about it's comparing yourself to the right people in the industry. So look at the people who are, say if you want to get into Naughty Dog, so if you're listening right now and it's Naughty Dog you want to get into, compare yourself to Naughty Dog people and see what kind of art that they've got and work yourself towards that and use that as a stepping goal.
Yeah, for sure. I 100% agree with that.
So there was one thing. So I think it would be great if just to kind of hear your perspective. It's going back to the point I was saying about branding. It was just to kind of hear about your thoughts on when it comes to like making your own name for yourself in a way, as in like just kind of getting your name out there. So obviously, one thing that you did and it helped you get into Naughty Dog was going to GDC. Is there anything that kind of you've realized over the years that's kind of helped? Like for example, I know you've been on another podcast and stuff. So like talking to people and stuff. Has anything else helped you along the way?
My ArtStation follower count is not as important to me now, but I do like seeing the number go up. And it does not matter because recruiters don't care how many followers you have because
Yeah.
they could find an awesome artist with like 20 followers, whatever. And like most people who are vets in the industry won't have many either because like they don't care. They just like post their work on ArtStation and they're like, okay, here's what I did. Bye, done. Just having it up here for, you know, the sake of it. Some don't even have ArtStations because they don't need them. They've been in the industry forever. But for like this day and age, because it's so competitive, like more followers meant like my page was getting more traffic and it was going to be easier to find it on like random websites maybe, or because like I had a number of projects to be easier. Anything that brought traffic, eyes to my page, because you just need that one pair of eyes to like lay eyes in your portfolio, you know. So another thing I did, it's staring me right in the face and I haven't even mentioned it. I wrote an article for 80 level like before.
Awesome.
Right before I went to GDC actually. I really want to. Yeah. He's a great guy. I met him at GDC. Really nice guy.
Yeah, Kurul's awesome. You can't go wrong with Kurul.
No, he is really great. I wrote an article for the rookies too. For Alwyn and Justin, whom I met at GDC, and I ran into them again at SeaGraph. So if they're listening, hi guys, you guys are the best.
Well, they're sponsoring the podcast, so if they are tuning in, make sure to once again everyone. So that's. Well, we've actually mentioned 3 great places. So, Dynasty Empire, we mentioned that earlier. Make sure to check them out. 80 level.
I was in that.
Yeah, I saw your review. I watched that today. Yeah. And then the 80 level guys, make sure to check them out. And then the rookies.
Yeah, Dynasty is great. That's another thing too. Joining Discords. I'm a part of 3 right now.
Mm-hmm.
Dynasty's one of them.
Okay.
3D Fast Track is pretty good. I'm in a bunch of private ones with just like a few people. Awesome. But I was a part of a few more, but I left them because of inactivity. Then I'm really OCD about my Discord bar. I'm in like 3 Discords with the same 5 people, and I'm like, what am I doing? Why am I in these? So
just random groups. It's got to the extremes.
Yeah. But yeah, basically like putting that article out actually I helped because people recognized me at the Substance Mixer at GDC. It was only like a handful of people, but a few people were like, "Oh, I saw your keyboard keys on your article," and I'm like, "Oh, cool. That's kind of awesome. Weird." I didn't because it's weird like walking around with this badge that has my name on, it, and they're like, "Hey, did you make keyboard keys?" And I was like, "Oh, don't talk to me. I'm a nobody. I'm not relevant." But yeah, so getting your posting 10,000 hours if you're an artist. I wish I could help level designers more and programmers and stuff, but their programmers don't have as much of an issue, I think, because you know there's a lot of engineering jobs in the world. So, yeah. But I also am probably just blowing hot air, so don't listen to me there.
Okay, we'll ignore that.
But yeah, post your work like everywhere. I actually had like a ritual. Every time I posted a material, I would have all the websites. I would have LinkedIn, my personal Facebook, 10,000 hours, every Discord I was a part of, my Twitter, and my ArtStation. That's like 10 websites.
And then copy, paste.
Yeah, and I would post I would have to write a different line for each one just so it didn't look like that I was a robot. And I would always do it at like 10 a.m. Because that would be when Europe is like, it's like 6 p.m., 7 p.m. for y'all. Because I knew I would get more traffic.
See, smart thinking.
Every time I posted one at night, it would never do as well. Because I'm like, oh, it's because like everyone in like other parts of the world is asleep.
Yep. You're like, gosh damn it.
or they're at work. So always do it then. So it's in the morning. Some people are going to work or about to go to work and browsing the internet, or they just got to work and are browsing ArtStation, or they're leaving work if they're in Europe. I was really OCD like about getting attention to my page at the time.
Like, I'm glad you did it though, because like that's the thing I respect so much about it, because the one thing that I think people have to start realizing more, and I've tried to say it as many times in the podcast, is that at the end of the day you're your own brand, and you never know, like one day you might go freelance, and you want to have as much stability in your pocket as possible, and being able to have an audience and having something there to be able to reach out to and have a base to give you structure. It goes such a long way. So treating treating yourself as a brand, acknowledging that maybe one day, depending on where your path goes, it's good to have. If you know what I mean.
Yeah, for sure. And also, like, don't be a horrible person on the internet, especially
That
Twitter.
Always be kind.
Especially Twitter. Twitter is very, very, very disingenuous, as I've learned. It's why I don't really tweet much about work, and I more just like shitpost about Fire Emblem and my cooking.
Awesome.
And Pokemon.
And
Pokemon. Oh, gotta get that Pokemon. But yeah, like, don't be horrible, because they do check your social media. They do. I know people. I think in this day and age, people do know that like recruiters will look you up on Twitter and et cetera, et cetera. But just don't say anything like inherently dumb, and
be smart with what you say.
yeah. Just like some people are different than they appear online too. So which is why you should never take like online as like a disingenuous like type of thing. Because like I've had online friends since I was like 12, like, so if you meet people, it's like so normalized now, because like 25 years ago you weren't doing that kind of stuff. Like parents were like, don't talk to strangers on the internet. That's literally what we're doing now.
It's like, this is the first time as chatting. It's like do I trust Charlie?
Well, I know that Ross can't reach a hand through and throttle me in my bed as I lay here talking.
Gosh damn it.
Don't worry, I've got to go to the gym after this.
Awesome. Well, enjoy the gym. Like, cause like, on you go.
No, I didn't have anything.
No, I was just gonna say, there was actually one thing that I came across on your LinkedIn that I thought was really cool to bring up, and it's something that I've not really heard much about. So you took part in that ID Tech Camp, is that correct?
Yes. Oh my God. That I don't know. I think it's actually an international company.
Right. Okay.
But I have technically been involved in that company since I was 10 years old.
Right. Awesome.
Because I was a camper there for a very long time. I don't remember, because like you don't remember anything like before 13, but I think I was kicked out of my summer camp that I was in, and I remember my parents were like not happy, but it was not with me. I guess I don't remember. I've asked my dad about it. He's like, no, like it wasn't anything you did. So I don't remember. But my mom signed me up the next year for a computer camp, and I was all for that. And that was like actually what got me into game design, because ID Tech was like, you can like learn. It's a game design camp basically. They have little robotics, with those little like Lego Mindstorms, and also like Warcraft like map editor is like a class there. It was back then. Right. Unreal, like using Unreal UDK. I used UDK for the first time when I was like 12 or something.
Wow, right, okay, damn.
So, but it's like there's just like week-long classes, and you sign up week by week. And I went to that camp for 8 years, so I really liked it.
Yeah, that's great. Like, I wish that was kind of thing was here.
I'm sure there is an equivalent, and I know that they are international, because I just remember they have some in Asia. So I wonder if they have any in Europe. Right. But it was really cool, because I interviewed there just like off the whim, and I taught there for like a summer, just for like 6 weeks, and then I did it last summer too. Not like this last summer, like the summer before. And it was nice, and it was cool. It was a chill job. You teach kids usually like age 6 to 18, and so I've taught all different age levels. And I really do like teaching. That's like my goal. If Illinois hasn't sunk into the United States because of bankruptcy, because that state is in trouble,
right.
just like most of this country. But I would like to move back there and like teach art or whatever.
Teaching
when I'm
amazing.
like when I'm like 35 or 40, whatever.
Nah,
Still young.
I'm the same as you, man. Like I've set my sights. I'm building Hogwarts, man. I'm building Hogwarts. Like Scotland, one day it is having Hogwarts in it, and I'm just gonna. I don't have a clue how I'm gonna get the name. It's gonna be impossible, but I'll build Hogwarts, and I'm gonna be Dumbledore. You name it, I'm gonna be doing it in Scotland. That's what I'm talking about.
You want to do it in Scotland?
Oh, it's all Harry Potter's based in Scotland. It's
that's true.
Like J.K. Rowling literally moved to Edinburgh just to design it. It's like Harry Potter is just I love Harry Potter. Everyone gets I think people are getting fed up to this point because I just bring up so much.
Really? Nah. I
Um,
haven't. I'm not like a super fan. I've read 5 of the books, but I never finished the last 2. But I know what
oh,
happens because it's
all
pretty
right,
hard.
okay. I'll let you off then. That's fine.
Yeah, it's pretty hard to not know. I think in this day and age, Harry Potter's pretty cool.
As long,
Um,
have you seen Lord of the Rings?
so oh man, if I answer this, one of my professors will defriend me
Oh,
on
right, okay.
Facebook. I've seen the Hobbit, and I know the whole Lord of the Rings,
All
but
right, okay.
I've never actually watched the films. I'm so uncultured.
God,
This year was a year of me culturing myself. I educated, quote unquote, myself on Kingdom Hearts, which I regret. Final Fantasy VII, which I did like a lot. A bunch of old Fire Emblems that I never got to
nice.
play.
Just
I was
catching
like,
up.
yeah, basically this year was after I got my job. I'm like, all right, time to eat through my backlog. Oh no, I forgot like every game that came out this year. So
Yeah,
I'm trying to finish Death Stranding before the year comes out. I was playing that yesterday.
nice.
Uh, Pretty beautiful game.
Yeah.
Very good attention to
Oh,
detail.
I've heard so many people say it just like it looks so realistic. Um,
Yeah.
So before we get into 500 seconds, so once again, everyone who's tuning in, if you're wondering what happens on the podcast, as always, we end the podcast with 500 seconds, which is literally just a bunch of random questions to Charlie. You name it, like favorite film, favorite game, you name it. But before we finish the podcast, the one thing obviously is like university, etc. and stuff. The one thing I like to talk about is obviously like university, like online courses and stuff, and online learning. For a material artist, is there anything that you kind of say? That's helped you along the way in regards to like obviously you said like you talked to you check out ArtStation portfolios, you've had your review on the Dynasty channel, but is there anything else that's helped you when it comes to texture art?
Um. So if you're talking about just like online resources, there's plenty. You should buy those Jonas Ronegard collections for $7 that have all these amazing tutorials. If you pay like 28 because each one is $7, you get like 16 tutorials. It's like each tutorial is like $1.50.
Right.
Some of them are like 30 hours. So like realistically, a human being will not mimic them. And they have all the mistakes, but some of them are like 1 to 2 hours, and those are really like worth watching. Um, some of those are pretty good, like deals for your bucks. Everything Josh Lynch and Daniel Tiger have ever put out. If you go on YouTube, you can find plenty. Shout out to my boy Chunk Get Learnt, has free tutorials on
Right.
YouTube. They are amazing. I actually used them when I was learning Substance Designer.
Nice.
So he was actually on the last podcast I was on too. So he's a pretty knowledgeable guy. I definitely recommend Get Learned. That's a great channel.
Awesome.
If you look up Substance Designer tutorials too, Betos has a few breakdowns I know on the Dynasty Empire.
Mm-hmm.
If you look around, like this has also been beaten into the ground, but like online has so many resources now. You can take classes, but the big gateway for a lot of people is money, and that's where the sticky slope comes in of do I recommend university? And I will say, despite like all the things that I don't think I got out of university, because most of what I was talking about was self-taught or what I did on my own time after I graduated, I would still recommend university with an asterisk because you have to go into it knowing it is very, very, very expensive in the
Mm-hmm.
U.S. specifically.
Yeah.
I don't know what it's like over in Europe, but I've seen those videos of. I saw this video yesterday of this dude interviewing British people asking, "How much do you think this basic healthcare is?" Because it's free for them, and they guess a number, and then they say like 2,500, and then it's their genuine reaction, and they just like almost walk away because they can't believe how ridiculously expensive things are.
Yeah, it's mental.
But also like go in knowing that school is not going to hand you a job.
Yeah.
And not every school will have the resources to get you a job. SCAD does have a lot of did have a lot of resources to help me like get a job. We had like a lot of career mentoring. We had a lot of speakers, alumni that are in the industry. I know I wasn't there this year, but like a few months ago, Clinton Crumpler, the owner of Decagon, is a SCAD alumni, and he went to go give a workshop like at the school, and I don't think every school can like do that, and he's one of the best environment artists like in the industry. So but like it comes to the cost. Like student debt is a lot, and like it's scary, and that's like the main thing, because you want to still have the college experience.
Mm-hmm.
You could go to like a school and maybe get like a computer science degree, which is like more applicable. but I still think that schools are worth it, at least mine in particular, solely because of the alumni network that I got from it. Because I did learn, circling back to the beginning of this when I said I don't know if SCAD's a big school, but I guess it is, because I've met a lot of amazing, amazing people in the industry that went to SCAD,
Right.
and that's like enough for me to warrant like recommending like that school in particular, at least, even though it does have a lot of problems. But no school will ever be perfect, ever. And online courses, have the issue too, is you'll get some individualized attention from someone like currently in the industry, but it's entirely self-disciplined too, because you can finish the class and technically not even turn in a project, and there's no penalty for it except that you wasted your own money, right?
Yeah.
So if you don't have the money, then don't do this to yourself with like student debt. Like, go online. You can learn if you really, 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 really want to do this. You can self-teach it to yourself. And I went to college, made a lot of friends, had a really like nice experience. I still learned a lot, like, because I didn't know anything like about 3D. Like, I had like these mini sessions at ID Tech for years, and I took 3D animation in high school that I didn't care about as much because it's high school and nobody cares unless you're like trying to get into like a, if you're an artist, they just want to draw and make personal work.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm kind of giving you a wishy-washy answer on what
I'm glad you said that. That's a great answer.
But all three, but like, there's benefits and cons to all three. The biggest con, obviously, to self-teaching is that it is going to take you a lot longer, and you are entirely motivated by yourself.
Yeah.
But I like college because I like being social. So
awesome.
Yeah.
Perfect answer. Thank you so much for saying that, man. But as always, before we get into 500 seconds, once again, make sure to go give Charlie a follow, and all the links that we've been talking about today for the types of artists, etc. I'll put them in the description below. And are you ready for 500 seconds, man?
Oh yeah, I'm ready.
Right, here we go. Get ready to be bombarded, my friend.
Oh man, I'm ready.
Right, the pressure is on. I'm trying to think what's the most difficult one. I was going to put you on the spot straight away.
If you were going to ask my favorite film, because you said that one, it's Die Hard 1. So.
Oh, right, okay. Right, fair enough. We'll go with favorite film, Die Hard 1. Great choice. Why is it your favorite film?
It's the best action movie. It's so many good one-liners. Bruce Willis when he had hair. I don't need to say more. Yeah. It does have two of my favorite scenes. I also love Alan Rickman as Hans Gruber. He's got a really cool pistol too. It's like one of the only memorable weapons I remember from movies. Because now you just see these over-designed like things, like in those Transformer movies that have like a million like moving parts, and you're getting a headache looking at them. And then you just look at this nice like pistol. And of course, one of my favorite scenes in the movie is after they shoot out all the glass. I don't know if you've seen it.
Yeah, I've seen Die Hard 1,000 times.
Oh yeah, like when he's dragging himself to the bathroom and his feet are bleeding.
That's horrible.
That scene is awesome. Like
that's
nowadays,
savage.
Nowadays when you look at action movies, these people are invincible. They do not they have like they'll fall out of a helicopter and slide down a highway and then shoot up like 50 cars, and it's like they don't have a scratch, or maybe in The Rock he'll have like a bruise. But in this, it's like, oh, it's so good. He's like dragging himself on the ground. He's picking glass out while he's smoking a cigarette.
It's savage.
I love that stuff. It's like realistic, quote unquote. It's not realistic, but it's believable. It's grounded and believable, and it's not about world domination. It's just a bunch of idiots who want money.
Yeah, that's so good. It's like the Die Hard series. I loved. I really love the third one.
Me too. I love Samuel Jackson.
Yeah, he's awesome. And like the whole water scene, like with the bottle, and they're like just trying to pour it in to get the right balance so it gets the bomb doesn't go off, and just like the whole sort of story there is like awesome. And then like
a lot of people don't really like Die Hard 3, apparently.
That's awesome. I loved it.
I love it. Yeah, me too. I like the second one because of the ending. I know people think the ending's dumb of Die Hard 2, but I love it. And then I don't talk about any of the Die Hard after 3 because they don't exist.
Wait. Die Hard 4 I like. I like Die Hard 4. I think
it's all
that's
right. It's all right, but it's more of that traditional action movie now that I talk about.
Yeah, fair enough.
It's like explosion. I like it when they were more grounded.
Yeah, that's true. Because like I don't know, every time I think of Die Hard, though, the other series I like is Lethal Weapon.
Oh, okay, those are good.
I think Mel Gibson and stuff. This is a random one. Cats or dogs?
I have 2 cockapoos.
Oh right, okay, so dogs.
Back at home, so
awesome.
Yeah.
Perfect. So favorite game and why?
My favorite game of all time is Paper Mario and the Thousand Year Door, which I will defend to my grave. I played it when I was like 9 or 10,
Hmm.
and I think it took a few years for it to become my favorite game. I've beaten it. I actually haven't beaten it as much as Sly Cooper 2. That game I've beaten like 30 times, or something ridiculous. But I have beaten it like 20 or so times, and it's just like a magical game. I like absolutely hate the Paper Mario series right now because it's just been dumbed down to oblivion. Art's gotten better, but the game has gotten so much worse.
Right.
I've
Okay.
been listening to like director interviews from the directors from that, and they're like, "Yeah, we don't think there should be two Mario and Luigi series, but Alpha Dream just went bankrupt, so now they don't have that problem." Um, and like Thousand Year Door has so many like awesome designs. It's such a unique style. Like everything, it wasn't like that everything was made of paper. Um, it was more that everything was like kind of flat, and like everything like had was really vibrant. All the worlds were like so different. All the characters were so great. There's such good writing in the game. Have you played this game?
I'm gonna have to give this game a go because I've not played this
Oh,
game. So
oh, it's an old GameCube game, 2004.
oh right, okay, wow, right, okay. I'm definitely gonna have to give it a go or
Oh,
try it
oh,
out.
it's like it's also got like one of my favorite battle systems. It since you never played it, it's basically it's a turn-based RPG, but it's got some real-time elements to it. So Mario,
Right.
you're on like a stage, like you're giving on a performance, and Mario like selects the command and he runs up. And when he jumps into the air, you can time the A button as he stomps on the enemy, and he'll do a second bounce. So
Yo, right, okay, nice.
every single attack has like one little real time input like that, and it makes the combat feel more involved, even though it's turn based, and
Yeah,
it's flashy. And it's got unique presentation and just some of the best writing. There's so many great moments. I love the game so much. I could not gush about it enough. It's so good.
great answer, great answer. Right, so continue with the theme of games. If you had to play a game competitively, what would you choose?
Oh, I'd have to pick. I guess I would have to pick League because I played it for like 90 years and I followed it religiously. But I wouldn't want to play any game competitively.
Fair
I would
enough.
only I only have to pick League because it's the one I played the most,
That you
and
played the most.
I don't play it that much anymore. And I don't like the culture involved with being a pro. I don't like streaming. Because I don't like being a personality and not being able to focus.
On the game
Which
itself.
Yeah, and there's like no other, and I feel like it would ruin the enjoyment of the game for me.
Yeah, I
If
know
I
what you mean.
did,
Like,
like I'd casually dream something, but never would want to be like a pro esports player. And I'm also not good enough at anything. So
yeah, because nowadays, like obviously it depends on the type of person it is, like, but if you, as long as you enjoy the game, like you don't want to take that experience by taking it so serious that you kind of lose passion for it. But I guess it depends on the type of game. Like for me, I always say Call of Duty is like my go-to game for that kind of thing. Right. What's one thing you can't live without?
uh, a bed and internet.
Better than perfect.
I'm intertwining them because they're basic household utilities, so I can
Yeah,
cheat by saying that.
no, it's a smart move. A common answer has been coffee so far. People are like,
No, I don't drink coffee. I've never had it. I've had one sip of an espresso in Italy, but my energy is natural, and it scares some people I know at the office at 9 a.m. when I walk in,
that's the
and they're like,
best
"How
type
the
of
hell?"
energy. You
No,
just
I'm too scared to know what I'd be like on caffeine.
just caught the
I
adrenaline.
I quit soda like 4 years ago, and I haven't
All
had it
right,
since.
good on
So.
you. Yeah, yeah, no, fair play. Right, this is probably a hard one. Favorite artist?
Like a real artist or game artist?
Just any artist when it comes to like art, I guess.
Daniel Tiger again.
Right, perfect.
Again.
Right, favorite food?
Oh man. Let me get a quarter so I can pick between pizza and sushi.
The pressure's
I'll,
on. What's it gonna land?
Here, I'll pick sushi because it's healthier than pizza.
The safe option. I like it. Right. This is the last question. So, if you had to choose any career path that wasn't art related, so if you had to do another job that wasn't art related, what would you choose and why?
I can't say game design, right?
You can't say game design, so any
Uh,
design, anything related to games or film, you have to completely no.
Nah, I would have. Well, that excludes programming. That marine bio, like I mentioned
Oh
earlier, I
yeah,
think.
yeah, good
Yeah,
choice. Right, okay, awesome. So do you have like
I don't know.
do you have a favorite animal? Actually, that's another question we could ask. Favorite
I
animal?
do. I do like sharks.
Oh my god! Finally, this is the first person who said the same as me. Sharks
Yeah,
are
I
one of
love
my favorite,
sharks.
man. Oh, sharks are awesome.
Dude, my favorite animal on the earth is the goblet shark.
Goblin
So
shark, good choice. Yeah, yeah. I get that's why because
just
when it comes to the 500 seconds, normally I ask for the end question. I just changed it up today, but it normally says like if you could change like any animal to like the like almost like the same size as a pet, like almost like really small. Like I was like, imagine having like a great white in a fish tank. It'd be so
oh
awesome.
God. Oh, I saw this video on Twitter of one of the biggest great whites ever recorded, and someone just swimming next to it, and I was like, oh
Oh
Jesus.
my
It
gosh.
it was sick. I
Yeah.
was like, I would not want to. I think that's why I wouldn't want to be a marine biologist. I'm too scared to get in the water with a lot of things.
Yeah.
And I'm because I really learned I'm very squeamish. I'm very, 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 very scared of snakes. And if I saw a water python or something, I would probably have a heart attack.
Just
So
get it out of there quickly.
I would be so far gone. And I'm pretty squeamish, I've learned. So
Ah,
with real life stuff. With if it's on like a game screen, I'm just like completely desensitized.
awesome. Now, because like when it comes to like sharks and stuff, I'm not sure if you ever heard. Have you ever heard of the Gaming Beaver? He's a YouTuber.
No.
Oh my god,
Oh,
you're missing out, man. He's like the best animal YouTuber I've ever seen. It's like
he's not Tier Zoo, right?
I don't think so. No,
Oh, okay.
it literally just goes by Gaming Beaver, and his name's James Beaver, and he literally does like shark reviews, plays every shark game out there. He plays dinosaurs, and I'm like, this is exactly what I'm talking about.
Oh, this is great. I've just found this guy's channel. I'm looking at it.
Dude, you're gonna geek out if you love sharks because he talks so much about sharks, and it's amazing.
You
So
should look up Tier Zoo. He's a YouTuber that tiers animal like different like species.
right, okay,
Like a D&D chart is like the shark has this tooth for this enemy in the meta, which is
what
the
right?
hermit crab.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
great.
Nice.
It's
Oh,
awesome.
dude, I've got somebody else to look at. Perfect.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for coming on the podcast, man. It's been a blast having you on. And if you ever want to come back on the show, you're more than welcome to. And as always, everyone who's tuning in, make sure to leave a like. Most importantly, make sure to subscribe and turn on notifications as always to be notified every single week when the podcast is live. And with that said, folks, we will see you guys in the next episode. Bye for now.